Hey, welcome back to the channel. Excuse the mess behind me. My garage is kind of in chaos right now. But anyway, I realized when I was looking through all the footage that I've taken since I've bought the camper that Caitlin and I never turned on the camera at all on the day that we bought the camper, other than one particular case. And that was when we did our walkthrough with the RV tech for him to show us where everything is, how to do everything, and answer any of the questions that we may have. So what this video is essentially everything that was shot on the day that we bought the camper, which is basically that walkthrough. So I'm going to go ahead and step aside and let you watch all of that so you can see what a typical walkthrough looks like when you're buying a camper. The dealer that we went to, the guy was very good. He answered all of our questions. He knew his stuff. I was very happy with our experience at that dealer. So anyway, without further ado, here is the video that I shot on the day we bought the camper with the technician at the dealership, answering all of our questions and showing us everything. So sit back and enjoy, and we'll see you in the next one. Some footage, yep.
This is just all the hitch stuff. I'll be putting that on after the fact. But we'll start up front and we'll just work our way around the whole outside and talk about everything we see.
Okay.
We're going to save all of our 7-way safety chains, that stuff for the end, because it's obviously more prevalent when we're hooking up. But first things first, we've got our tongue jack here.
Okay.
So your on and off switch is really just for your light. I mean, you'll still have power to your tongue jack regardless of that position. Obvious things first, so not only are we using this to hook up to the truck and stuff, but if you have a deficit in, the lay of the land front to rear, this can come in handy to help with that.
Okay.
You saw I have this little guy
Yep,
in there.
that's the manual in case the power goes dead.
I love the manuals, and when you're not using it, it's just got this little watertight plug kind of fits down in here. This tool, we'll use it for a few different things, but that's just the first one.
Okay.
All right. You obviously have a propane tank covered. It goes over the tanks. Got that out of the way so we can see. 20-pound tanks.
Okay.
We fill these up to do the prep, check the gas system, the furnace, the water heater, all that.
Okay.
If you look right here, you see how you have the 2 G's and the little green screens right there? And then you see how it says supply pointing to your tank right now, indicating this is the tank we're pulling from.
Okay.
When that tank runs out, those turn red, indicating it's time to flip her over.
Okay.
Crack open that one, and then you can kind of do like that. You could point it straight up or
and it will pull from both.
And it will do from both, which of course it'll double your capacity, but then once you see red,
you're completely out.
So it comes down to preference. It's not right or wrong.
I like the switch back and forth. That way, while I'm doing that one, I can work on getting this one filled.
You always know you have at least one reserve.
Right.
That's kind of the way I am too. Moving right down the line, we got our battery in here, just a interstate battery.
Okay.
This is responsible for all the 12-volt stuff, which is really everything except electric water heater, TV, air conditioner, and microwave.
Can I later add a second battery?
Yes, absolutely. What's nice, so right now we have it screwed into the frame so it's not bouncing all around, but very easily you can move it over, add a second or maybe even up to 3 up here.
Might be,
just positive to positive, negative to negative. That's simple enough. You'd be surprised at how many people do that.
Put them in series.
Yeah. They don't work.
No.
They don't work very good.
No. Send 36 volts into the system.
To your 12-volt system, right? These are just the side saddles. Again, you'll get a full demo on the hitch after I get it put together and stuff. But they're very easy. The only thing you all take on and off are the actual bars themselves.
Okay.
These won't move. Once I get the hitch height set to where it's supposed to be, that doesn't move. It's an easy system, and the tongue jack does all the work for you.
Okay.
It's not supposed to be hard or difficult. So I'll show you that as we get to it. Oh, the magnetic compartment doors are very underrated.
Yes,
clips are
so you don't have to hold on to them.
Right.
Yeah.
So you of course have 4 stabilizer jacks on each corner, and just like the name says, they're stabilizers.
They're not lift, right?
Right, and and if you try to lift the camper with it, you'll find out that they're not for that. It happens. Yeah. Anything that's making ground contact, this might come.
What size socket do I need for?
3/4.
3/4. Okay.
Good question. So yeah, your manual tool works too, but that's a little.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a socket. I might already have a 3/4.
Oh, I'm sure. It's a pretty common one. I always forget to clock into stuff on here. That's the only thing about doing it on your phone. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
There we go. Anything that's making contact with the ground, obviously it makes sense. If it was wet grass under here, it would be kind of hard to press into that. That's where the blocks of wood, or you've seen, there's so many products.
Yeah, I've already got
there.
blocks in my garage ready to go.
Very good.
Yep.
This is kind of our one-stop shop here for a lot of things. We'll just start at the top and work our way down.
Okay.
So we got a little 120 volt outlet spot just for powering things, obviously. This is where you can get cable in if the campgrounds are offering it.
Okay.
Of course, inside, you know, we have the, or on the roof rather, there's the digital antenna that picks up, you know, all the local stuff. Yep. It's a lot of home shopping network, QVC. Every now and then you'll get some Jerry Springer, you know, something a little entertaining. But the battery disconnect switch, very simple. So if you look at the 12 o'clock position, it says off. And then the 3 o'clock position, which is what we're in now, we're in the on position. Okay. This is a very simple concept. Whenever we're plugged in with the shore power like I am now, if the 7-way is plugged into the tow vehicle as we're driving down the road, whether you're boondocking, you know, doing the sleeping in the Walmart parking lot for the overnight kind of thing, anytime you're using your camper, you want this on. Okay. Whenever you're storing your camper, you're not using it, whether it's a week or, you know, 2 months.
Does the truck help charge the battery while it's... Okay.
Which is why you want to leave this on, because if you turn it off...
You're disconnecting the battery.
It acts as a kill switch, exactly. So in the same way that the shore power is charging it, in the same way the truck is charging it when you're using it, we're in on mode, so that way it can charge. Yep. When we're not, it's off so it can't deplete. Yep. Pretty simple.
Now, I am parking it in an open lot that has plenty of sun, so could I potentially leave it on?
Yeah.
And let the solar do its thing?
And that's, now,
does it have solar?
Yeah, you've got solar.
It has one panel on the top.
So are you going to be leaving it there for storage or leaving it there using it at the same time?
I'm going to be storing it, but I'm also, when I'm not using it, I'm going to be renting it out. So,
Smart.
So it's going to be...
So basically, if you're going to
a week or two between rentals at the most.
What I would do is, yes, you can leave this on and kind of let the solar do its charging to the battery.
I'll just shut the fridge off.
That's what I was going to say, because that's going to be the biggest puller
so
of
it
that
doesn't
voltage.
draw. Yeah,
exactly. You sound like you have a pretty good understanding.
I've got a fairly
making my job very easy.
He's
right
watched a lot of videos.
That's good. Put a lot of info out there.
Yep.
But yeah, that refrigerator is a straight run, so it'll very true. It does have an off-grid section, but you know.
Yeah.
So we're talking about solar.
Yep.
You know, inside at the monitor panel where it shows us tank levels and everything, there is one section for battery, but that says low, fair, good, and charged. Yep. This out here actually gives us a number, a voltage that is, to our battery. Yep. Now, being plugged in like we are to shore power right now, you're always going to see 13 point something. Right. Because shore power is available. Yep. This becomes more prevalent if, like we're saying, we don't have the shore power and we're relying strictly on battery and solar. Okay. That's where this comes into hand, because at the campground plugged in, you're not really going to be wondering what your battery's at, because it's full. But we just have a few options here. We've got volts, amps, and percentage. You just click them and they do their little thing. But again, this is really just to keep an eye on battery life. You'll use that more in the boondocking aspect of things than you will campground camping. Right. Of course, you've got this little guy. Your water hose can feed up from the bottom, so you can still shut and lock your compartments. Yep. City water, so that's, you know, hook the hose up, everything's on demand, ready to rock and roll. The fresh tank, and it's just a selector switch, but the fresh tank fill is just like it says. You have a tank of water that's empty right now. You can fill it up and take that water with you. Okay. So the only difference is this acts as both city water connection and fill up the tanks. Exactly. Okay. And then you have a selector switch. The only main difference is this one requires the 12-volt water pump. This one does not. Right. Really easy. And the other thing, I don't know why, but they always kind of do this. You have a secondary fill point for your fresh tank on that corner, that gravity
I've seen
port.
That. Yeah.
So, you know, you kind of can pick whichever I guess is more easy, but most people, if they're campground campers, they rarely use that fresh tank. Yeah. And you got to remember, it's 8.5 pounds per gallon of water, so 30 to 40 to 50 gallon tank, that's a lot of weight. Yep. This is just part of the
Can I ask a favor?
Absolutely.
Before we take it away, can you throw about 10 gallons in that tank today?
Absolutely.
I don't need a lot.
I can make that happen easy.
Just so we can have a bathroom on the way home.
I love that's my favorite feature of campers.
We're 3 hours away, so.
Understood. I told them when they hired me, I said, listen, I'm a bird. I go to the bathroom every 15 minutes. Yep.
I don't want to carry it fully loaded, but.
Yeah, we'll definitely. I'll put a third in there.
Yeah, so. 10, 15 gallons would be perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. That's easy favor. I can make that happen. You'll see a lot of these lights throughout your camper, and you see how it's got a 1 and a 2 on it.
Yep.
So the 1 is a solid light. The middle, where it's 0, is of course off, and then the 2 acts as a motion sense. So
Okay, so it'll turn
open
on
your
when you're.
compartment,
Yep.
and it's like a 20-30 second timer. Don't quote me on that. And then of course it turns off, and the next time you come back, it's
So you don't forget. Yeah.
right. So I kind of what most people like to leave those on. I'll throw it on there for now.
Yeah.
VIN, tire size, PSI, just
All
general
that
knowledge
information.
with the camper, right? This
Yep.
is all, of course, again, in the you have 50 manuals in this camper. They give you a manual for everything.
Yep.
Which is good.
Yep.
But, I like that they put this back here out of the way, not
That's
to be
the-
confused with the city water.
That's the black tank flush.
And yeah, and you notice the thing it says don't use the tank flush valve unless the termination valve is in the open position. Yes and no. Yes and no. So what they're saying,
You don't want to flood your bathroom.
exactly, but at the same time, when I use these, which is not very often, but when I use them, I leave that valve closed for a little bit,
Yep.
just so it can build up a tiny bit of
Right.
pressure. But it's something I tell people, you don't walk away when you're doing this. Hello, what's up? You don't do that. Just so it can build a little bit of a flush. Open your handle, flushes through your hose.
Yep.
The only time that this might come into play is if you all, you just dumped your tanks, it's empty, but for whatever reason that monitor panel's still reading 1/3.
That
What
means you got
happens
some
is
sludge down there.
debris,
Yeah.
exactly, right. I
Yeah.
try not to,
Yeah.
So let's see, this is where our waste is coming from. The fresh tank drain is back on the other side. They make this pretty foolproof. Not only do we have our labels, the gray handle's gray, the black handle's black.
Yep.
Very, very easy. You can kind of see how this works. This tank, so you do have 2 gray tanks, one for the kitchen, one for the bathroom, and then they feed to here directly.
Yep.
Which is nice because it still only leaves you with 1 gray handle, 1 black handle.
Yep.
Of course, you want your termination cap on when you're driving down the road, or it might not be there when you get
Yeah.
where you're going. It's attached, but it just has that little booty on
Yep.
it. But fairly simple. I think most people like to do their black first and then the gray behind it, so that way it can wash the hose out a little bit. It makes sense, but this is probably everyone's least favorite part of
Yeah. Well,
camping.
It's
part of it though.
Necessary part. That's right.
it. With your slide outs, you obviously have this nice big slide out. The biggest thing with these is obviously the things that are above it. We're not so much worried about pine needles and stuff like that, but it's
Yep.
branches and sticks. You see that you have rubber seals.
Yep. Yeah. You don't
If the
want.
stick's big enough and you're dragging it up and under that seal, it can tear up the seal and things like
No, I
that.
plan on going up there and
Just
sweep it.
getting some eyes
Yeah.
on it.
Sw-
A little
give it
leaf
a
blower works
give it a
good,
give it a
too.
sweep or something. Yeah.
Got the first one, by the way. I haven't tried
Oh,
it
nice.
yet because I figured you'd want to.
Yeah, we'll show them. This is our fancy dancy water heater here. So of course I just flung water in my face. All of the controls for this are done inside as
Yep.
far as turning on gas, turning on electric. The 2 things I like to note out here is of course our pressure release valve at the top,
Okay.
and then our anode rod at the bottom, which acts as the drain plug.
Okay.
That is a 1/16"
Okay.
size socket. It's a sacrificial anode rod. What that means, you have a metal tank that holds water. Obviously, corrosion is susceptible.
Just need to check that every so often.
Exactly, and as you pull it out in years to come, you'll know when it's time. They just
Yep.
get a little gunked up, and again, it's not hurting the water or hurting the tank, but
Yep.
that's what you're looking for. All your flue tube stuff. You do have 2 little resets behind there for the electric element.
Okay.
If you go to hit your electric and it's not working, which I've been here for 4.5 years, I think I've used these once or twice, but that's what that's for the
Part of the
electric side.
troubleshooting. All right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you don't know they're back there, you can't use them.
Right.
So.
Right.
Get that guy back on. It just got 2 little holes at the bottom, and then I like to fold them down, but again, preference.
Yep.
So it's a 30 amp unit. This is the cord, the cable that comes with the unit.
Okay.
Best parts, the little tie downs on them. So
How long's that cable?
I'd say
About 20 feet.
20 feet. They're
Yeah.
typically a standard size. 20 feet is usually the most common for 30s.
Yep.
50s might be 25, but some of
Yep.
those are 22. But the tie down's great, so when someone walks by and trips on
Doesn't
it,
pull it out. Yeah.
don't kill your AC and everything else.
Yep.
Of course, you've got storage in here.
Okay.
I know a lot of people, this is their go-to spot for sewer hoses, keeps it away from
Yeah.
their water hookups. I know a few people that this is their go-to for fishing poles. So whatever, to each their own, I guess, Just the biggest thing is these obviously don't lock. So if
No.
it's anything of value, stick it where you're able
Yeah,
to lock
I can
it
put
up.
the poop tube in there.
Yeah,
People not
let
gonna
someone
steal-
have it.
You want to steal that? Go for it. Knock yourself out.
Yeah, exactly. Seriously though, I mean, it's a
As long as
dirty
that cap
job.
stays on anyway.
Yeah, I like these. just a nice big flat storage space. This is of course right under the bunks.
Yep.
Also, while we're here, so you notice you have these 2 screws here.
Oh yeah.
And then even inside, you can fold the mattress back. Right behind there, you have your water heater and your water pump.
So if I need to access those.
Not only for access, but when it comes time for winterizing and that type of stuff. Are you going south or north when you leave here?
I live in Raleigh.
Okay, so you probably, it still gets cold down there,
Yeah.
you know, come winter time, which, you know, you don't have to worry about that anytime soon.
Yep.
But it's kind of one-stop shop, very easy to winterize,
Yep.
by the way. But that's where you'll be doing that as well.
Okay.
Doesn't get cold down there like it does here, man.
I'm sure it does.
Yeah, we're not up in the hills.
I lived in Thomasville for a while, and I think I lived there for 2 years, and in 2 years we got 1 snow.
We might get 10 days where it gets below freezing.
yeah.
And,
When I
and
say it snowed, it was like a light dusting, but all the schools were closed. Everybody's freaking
Oh, yeah.
out, and everything.
Yeah.
It was doomsday.
yeah, we haven't had snow in 3 years.
That's crazy.
We barely get it
Yeah.
either.
I'll say we only had 1 slight inch
Yeah.
this year, but spare tire, obviously.
And I don't think it got below,
Hopefully you
what,
never need this.
20 degrees at
Still,
all?
20 ain't,
They all
ain't,
freak out.
ain't warm, you know?
Yeah.
20 ain't warm.
I mean, this does have an underbelly.
Yes.
But-
Oh yeah. So yeah, for whatever reason, that's that secondary, that gravity port for the fresh tank again.
Yep.
I love these things.
Let me go ahead and turn her on.
Oh, wait a little bit,
I
just
just
till we get
figured you would
inside.
show them first.
I like it just for right by the door, clean the hands
Wash off,
off,
yeah.
whatever it may be. And then when you're not using it,
And that's cold water only, right?
correct.
Yep.
Yes. Come right out. Hold that guy down, and then this just gets stored wherever.
That's quick release.
Oh yeah, I love them. Very easy fittings.
Yep.
Now, when you take it off, too, if it has water in it, just hold it up, let that port drop,
And then
do
hold
like he's
the-
doing, and
hold
hold
the
it and
handle.
empty it, because you don't want to throw it in there, because eventually it will lose.
Yeah.
That,
So if you look right down here, you notice you have that blue hose hanging down.
Yep.
So that's going to be an overflow for the fresh tank.
Oh, okay.
And the chance, obviously, no one gets distracted in life, right?
Right.
So
So if it does,
that's where it goes. And then right here on this side, you have this big white pull handle.
yep.
That's going to be the drain for the fresh tank.
Okay. To
So
drain
very,
it out.
very straightforward.
Yeah, and I saw the 2 smaller ones over by the dump.
Yes, yes.
The-
Those, let's see, the red and blue ones, I think?
Yep.
Yes, so the red and blue ones, I'm glad you brought that to my attention. Low point drains.
Right.
So all they're responsible for is residual
Draining the
water.
pipes.
That's- Exactly.
Yep.
Those don't drain the water heater.
So I
and the waste
open
tanks.
the sinks when I go to drain those
Yes.
to let the air through. Yep.
Exactly, and it'll honestly when you do that, it'll. It's just like holding a bottle right at that perfect
Right.
angle, and it'll pour right out.
Yep.
Both of your steps are the exact same kind of design here. They just fold right up. Biggest thing is when you get here, you don't want to be sticking your hands. You want to keep them right on the bars.
Yep.
Just because something will pinch in there. I know it. Something will pinch.
I've seen a lot of people do a mod to put the MORryde steps on.
Oh, yeah.
And then put a toolbox in where those steps
Ooh,
used to be.
Toolbox there would be cool.
Yeah.
The people love those MORryde steps. You're
Yeah.
right about that, but I don't know if I've seen a box there. That's neat.
Yep.
That is good. I like the
Probably make a kit of this for it, too, as popular as it is. Usually they-
Yeah, I think the one guy I saw do it, he had somebody weld one together for him, and then they just
That's smart.
use
too.
that.
Secure it.
Yeah. Use that area. Yep.
Right here, this is kind of the spot set up for outside TV, more
Okay.
or less.
So that's cable coming out on that one.
Yes.
Yep.
Furnace exhaust. Obviously, just be mindful of it when you're using the furnace. Notice you have that hole right there in your J-wrap. Oh, let me see. Okay.
Is
So
that
if
the
you
spare
look,
tire release?
It's not the spare tire.
Oh no,
release.
that's back there.
This is actually a manual extend retract for your slide out.
Oh,
You
okay.
see that little gear right there?
Yep.
So that same tool, 3/4 size tool, fits through here, and it gives you the ability, if you're inside, hitting
Close
your
the
button.
slides.
Yes.
Yep.
Now I always say, in all things practical, a big heavy slide. If one of you is sitting over here doing this, it's never a bad idea for the other person and maybe even
Keeping
a
an
few
eye on
others.
it. Yep.
Not necessarily
Oh, that-
pushing, but just lean on it, or just try to help
Help it in, yep.
It's a gear and pinion system, so it's not going to hurt anything.
Right.
Compared to a Schwintek where it has to be even and all this.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of weight to sit here and try to. I'm a realist, so.
Yeah. No,
Furnace
I agree.
exhaust. Let me bump our awning out a little bit while we're still outside.
Okay.
By the way, I'm new here, so I'm still trying to learn.
No problem.
Oh yeah, he's hanging out. So I always tell people, these things are great. I mean, they're pretty thick fabric.
I'm a little worried about this.
The biggest thing is wind and rain.
I'm not worried about me. I'm worried about renters.
Yeah.
How much is if some renter does mess it up? How much is a whole new awning going to run me? Just for the parts, I could probably put it on
You
myself.
can definitely put it on yourself because all it is a screw there and a screw there, and it
Right.
And then of course it slides in a track. I don't know. I want to say $500-600.
No, that's not too bad.
I think. Don't.
That's what I have the
quote me, but
that's what I have the deposit set at. So
that's smart.
yeah.
You know, that's a good idea because people are constantly. I've had my own family. Hey, do y'all rent campers? No, we don't rent campers.
Yeah, just putting it on the different. It's kind of like Airbnb for campers.
That's
There's,
cool.
There's like 3 websites that you can put your camper on and rent.
No,
I already actually have 2 bookings for this thing.
Oh, I'm not
for
surprised.
Memorial Day weekend and 2 weekends after that.
I
Yeah.
might have to get
That
into
way you
it.
make your money back.
Well, you know what's cool? So with all
Yeah.
our
Pay
used
for it.
ones, they've told us like with used campers, we can take them on the weekends and go.
Oh, that's cool.
I just haven't. I'm not. My luck is I know I'll go.
Yeah.
Some idiot will hit me or whatever.
Well, I'm going to make it very clear to the renters
Better
that
be some
that
good
awning,
insurance.
if the winds are more than 10 miles an hour, that awning is in, and
Wind and
do
rain.
not leave the camper
with it out.
with it out.
Yep.
Pretty much anytime.
That's always how it
the
happens.
passwords I've heard. Anytime they go inside, they need to roll it up.
Yeah.
This is a nice touch.
Yeah, and when they go to bed at night, for
The
sure.
flagpole holder.
Oh, nice.
That's a sweet little touch.
Is that what that's for? I was wondering what that was for.
And then it slides. You tighten it down, and you got a little flag.
Nice.
That is. It's a nice touch. It really is. Just gives it a little personal feel.
Yeah.
This is just the manual for the hitch, which of course we'll go over it all at the
Okay.
end. But these are the tools that come with the hitch, but of course we'll go over it all
Yep.
at the end. We can go inside now.
All right.
Of course, 2 entries, the bedroom, but this is probably the main entry exit. Get some of this volume turned down. You sure I'm still rolling? Yep. Yeah, those GoPros do good footage from everything
Yeah.
I've seen. I'm impressed.
Yep, they do.
We'll start right here just because this is more or less the brain of the camper, I guess. Kind of the...
Where all the controls
brain.
are.
It
Yep.
is. Working our way from top to bottom. So you can see when I hit battery, this is what I meant. Empty, 1/3, 2/3 full. That
Yep.
doesn't really tell you anything, but you have it 12.3 volts.
Right.
Up there in that front compartment, gave us an exact number, a little bit
Yep.
more helpful. Fresh tank. So here's where you stand when you're monitoring, filling that
Yep.
up. And like we're gonna do, if I only want just a little bit, I could go just a 1/3 or just even under that. You don't even
Yep.
have to fill that up, but
Yep.
pretty straightforward. You fill it up to full, turn your water off. Black tank, so that's strictly toilet waste always.
Yep.
Black tank, gray tank 1. Gray tank 1 is going to be the bathroom, I'm thinking, being that's the first tank we come to, and that looked how that pipe ran off.
Yeah.
Either way, gray tank 1 is bathroom, gray tank 2 is kitchen, or vice versa, but you have 2
We'll figure
tanks.
out which one is which after we use it. Yeah.
No auxiliary tank, that's just an extra button,
Yeah.
for generic
Bigger
monitor
models
panel.
probably have them.
But the easiest way to explain these, and it's common sense, as you use your facilities, the tanks fill up
Yep.
accordingly. I mean,
Yep.
water pump, so that goes hand in hand with fresh tank. You won't be using the pump on city water.
No, but when I'm using it off my fresh tank,
Exactly.
I gotta turn that on.
Like
Yep.
on the way home, if you gotta go to the bathroom, run in here and turn that switch on and you'll be good to go.
Yep.
LP gas for the water heater. Electric, so of course this will be the one you're using the most if you have shore power available, because save your
So the water
propane.
heater runs on both electric and gas.
Yes, and you can do both at the same time. It really
Okay.
only saves you like 5 minutes as far as hot water, but pretty straightforward. The element is in the tank. The LP gas heats up from the underside of the tank.
Yep.
So, but if you have your 30 amp available, save your propane and use that electric.
Right. Makes sense.
Ceiling. So this really acts as an overhead light, right? Everything you see that's still on is because it's got its own little something, a push button, a switch of some kind,
Yep.
whatever the case may be.
Okay.
An overhead light. The exterior switch is for that little LED light bar outside here,
Oh, okay.
right on the side. Slide one, awning one, pretty easy. When you hear this clicking noise, that's not anything
You reach the end. Yep.
Yeah, and you'll hear it when it's all the way in, you'll hear it when it's all the way out, just
Yep.
because this is a gear and pinion system, it's the clutch disengaging.
Right.
With the awning, you have awning extend, you have awning retract. One thing with the awning, I'm gonna make you worry a little bit more. You can roll these up backwards, in the sense
Okay.
if you get it all the way out.
Goes. Just so I know it.
Yeah, absolutely. When you get it all the way
Awning
out,
on the top. Okay.
you could hit extend again, and it'll bring it back in just backwards.
Backwards. Yep. Yeah, I've seen that
Just-
before. I just
right.
wanted to make sure I know which way is the right way.
Sure. I understand completely.
Yeah.
Monitor panel's not hard. It's kind of what do you want to do? Come over
Yep.
here and hit that.
Pretty
button.
straightforward.
The radios, Bluetooth, radio. Really, the biggest thing is zone 1 is inside. Now we're playing just outside.
Okay.
And then of course vice versa, turn
it-
off zone 2, turn on inside, whatever you want to do.
So it's got AM, FM,
AM, FM, USB, Bluetooth, and then let's go through our sources.
HDMI.
So aux, you could even go from plug an aux cord into here, plug it into the TV, play the TV through the speakers if you wanted to, that
Yep.
kind of thing.
Which I'll probably do.
That's
yeah.
pretty cool, yeah. That is, that's cool. And it does have a little remote with it, so you got a little
Oh, cool.
radio remote there. Of course, your TV. This is one of the old TCL smart TV things. So, like, I know I have a hotspot through Verizon. It don't matter who you use.
Roku TV.
But
Yep.
yeah, you know, you could download the apps and all that.
Yeah.
When you all get home to scan for channels, you just TV inputs, antenna TV, scan for channels, and then it just uses the antenna to do whatever it's going to
No, it doesn't have any built-in Wi-Fi or anything like that.
Typically, no. Now, what they do sometimes offer, it's WineGuard 360 is the company. I'm looking for the little thing. WineGuard 360, and it's a pay us this much a month and we'll get you kind of thing. But that's why I bring up the hotspot, because I know it's an extra $10 a month on
Yeah.
my phone plan, which still gives me the same capability. I guarantee that's cheaper than a.
Yeah,
You
that's what we'll probably have everybody do is the.
So, like
The
I say, you
hotspot.
get a manual for everything, but the only manual that I recommend just flipping through, looking through, putting your eyes on is obviously
The
just
owner's manual, yep.
Right. Everything else, you have one for the TV, for the smoke alarm, for the fire extinguisher. I mean, down to the nitty gritty.
Yep.
Let's see. All right. I like to get in here just so you can see predominantly
panel. Yep.
everything is a 15 amp fuse except for those 240s as far as your 12 volt side goes.
Okay.
Everything has a little tiny LED light next to it. So let's say that
Oh,
one goes
so it'll
out,
tell you when it's blown.
lights
Nice.
up right next to it. It don't have
Which
to,
cars had that?
I'm telling you. Shoot, I'll tell you what. And then of course all your breakers for the 120 volt side, pretty
Okay.
straightforward. They just kind of hide it nicely behind this cabinet.
Yep.
Very nicely hidden. I can't believe I have to say this, but you would
Don't
people-
cook on that.
I mean, oh my God.
It's a good way to break the glass.
Do not play. Yeah, they fire it right up, and
Yep.
yeah, it's wild. When it comes
Immediately
time
break it.
to use this, your first knob is just an igniter, so there's no on or off
okay.
position. Wherever it lands is fine. You can kind of see how
The
these
three burners.
correlate. When the knob turns red, it means you've got gas flowing. And what's also nice is they're blue when they start out with that light on, and then they turn red.
Oh,
So
cool.
it's very easily identifiable,
Yep.
which is good. The only difference in the top burners and our bottom ones, you see I just turn and let go, fires right up.
Yep.
This one I actually turn and I'm pushing it in, and you notice it won't let me turn any further. That's because they want me to light the pilot light down here.
Ah.
So I'll tell you a little trick. You can get down and do all that, but I'll try to angle the door to where I can like use the reflection.
Oh,
Okay, so
yep.
it just lit back
I
there.
saw it.
And
Yep.
then from here, I can adjust my temperature to 475, 500 degrees, whatever. And then once you go back off, everything's off down there. So the next time it's the same thing. I push it in and it stops me. Light my pilot light, and then
Yep.
from there, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
So up gave us knobs, the middle is off, and then down is knobs plus oven light.
Okay.
Pretty cool. And then yeah, you can't cook through the glass. I don't know where people get that notion from.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know.
I wonder if that glass can just be removed.
Yeah.
Might so renters don't.
Yeah, you never know, right? If you
Renters
give someone
don't.
the opportunity to do something silly,
Yeah.
they'll probably do it.
Yeah, I'll look into that when we get home. I
There's no
prefer.
shortage
I
of
prefer to go
storage.
ahead and remove it
Before it's a problem.
before it's
yeah.
a problem. You know.
What's cool as well with this is so you've got an exhaust fan and it's got its little oven light right there.
Yep.
Or cooktop light, I'll call it.
Standard
I
microwave.
usually skip the microwave. Microwaves and toilets.
We
I
all
feel
know
like.
how to use them.
Right. If you've made it this far in life, I mean,
Yeah.
keys. So 2 sets of keys, obviously.
Good.
The purple ones are the door locks. The silver ones are the compartments. Pretty
Okay.
easy there. A little access to your furnace right there if
Oh,
you need
yep.
it. It's good. That's why campers are nice in that aspect. You can usually get to things pretty well.
Right. If you have to
Y'all will
fix-
be very impressed with these. I came out here at about 10, 15. I
It's
mean,
already
these
fu-
12 volt
it's already
fridges
cold.
are like.
I've heard they're amazing, and they
Compared-
they don't frost up like the gas ones too.
Well, and that's the thing. Compared to those older Dometic ones that were, and you could do 12 volt, 120, or propane, But dang, I mean, it took all about 12 to 24 hours to get the temperature. These take literally, I mean, you'll be very impressed with that.
No time. Yep.
I think they market this as like a doggy.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that what they do?
Yep.
Yeah, that's
They do.
funny. It's good marketing. I'll give them that.
Yep. The dogs we have would ruin that drawer.
Yeah, right?
With the slobber.
I'm telling you.
If I put a water bowl in there.
So the first option, when I just turned it on, all I did was press and hold my power button. You notice it just says fan.
Fan, yep.
So that's just like it says. The compressor's not on. We're not making any cold air. It's just circulating.
Circulating.
If I hit it again, now we're
Dry.
on dry. So this is more of a humid. They want you to
Takes
use
the
this in a
humidity.
humid climate.
Yep.
Now the regular Joe, cool.
Yep.
And of course you can set your temperature to whatever. Fan speed, we're on low right now. If I click it up to high, click it up, and I say you can. And I think so that's with it wide open too.
Yeah.
So I have this big vent that's blowing straight down. At nighttime, I like the idea you can
It
close
gets
that
much
off,
quieter.
okay.
and
Yeah.
now we're putting more through our duct system, which these turn whatever way you want.
Oh, I see.
But right, so yeah, little loud. That kind of helps quiet that
Yeah.
down a little bit.
And a lot less air comes through the duct
Isn't that wild?
when that's closed. Or a lot more comes out when that's closed.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then so our three, we got fan, dry, and cool. And then after cool, it takes us to heat, which of course is our furnace. We'll hear the blower come on just to clear any debris out of the tube. And then after a few seconds,
Yep. Yeah. I saw one thing where it's advised to put screens on the
never
vents.
a bad idea. The
Damn
furnace,
mud
the
daubers.
water heater, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, you're from North Carolina. It's all
Yeah.
the same crap. If you
Those
find,
damn wasps will nest in there.
oh my God, and no one likes being surprised by them.
Well, that and you restrict the airflow and
I'll tell you
the
where you
burners
find
won't
it.
light. Yeah.
If you ever see it, it's you see the black streaks up the side of the camper, like right there adjacent
Yeah.
to the exhaust of your water heater or furnace, and that's what it is. Mud daubers, stink bugs,
Yeah.
wasps.
Yeah, it's
whatever.
going to be one of the first things I do is put screens over those vents.
It's a very cheap thing to
Yeah.
do for what it is. And
Yeah.
I don't ever try to, I always tell people, look on Amazon. Of course, we sell all this stuff, but we're here to make money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be way more expensive
Yes,
here than
I've
it's
already seen that.
It's a
Yeah.
Dude, I was walking through up there one day. They got a roll of duct tape up there for like $22. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What kind of duct tape are we selling here? This is the magic duct tape, I guess.
Special camper duct tape.
I'm telling you. One thing that is super nice, porcelain
Oh,
toilets.
yeah.
The old plastic ones, I guess they worked fine, but they just a little bit wobbly. That is true porcelain.
Yep.
So you push the pedal a little bit, it'll add more water to the bowl. Push the pedal all the way to the floor, that'll drop the valve on
Everything
the
in
bottom.
there. Yeah.
Pretty easy stuff. Travel locks for your doors, so you obviously want to make sure that they're latched when you're driving, so it's not in here.
So the doors aren't flying
And
around.
I'll tell you, the skylights let in a tremendous amount of light.
Yep.
I mean, I'm impressed with those. You got you a little exhaust fan in here. Another cheap thing you can do with these is they make max air vent covers for like $35 off Google. Comes with a little kit. I don't even use that hardware kit. I take self-tappers and just screw them right into the metal.
Yep.
Put the bracket on, and then you just have little covers, so that way rain, anything like that, you can leave
can
your
leave 'em
vents
open. Yep.
Exactly. Just little things like that. I don't
Yep.
ever try to push stuff, but those
Yeah.
are pretty cool.
Storage.
Fancy underbed storage, of course. Anything you see with a red handle like this, so this is an emergency exit, this one is an egress style window.
Okay.
All that means is we can use it as a regular window, everything's fine and dandy. In the event you're trying to go out of here, that gets pushed all the way through, pull the red tab which drops the screen. But my thing is, with 2 entry exit doors, it's going to take
Yeah.
a lot for me to not make it out of one
Right.
of those. While we're on the subject.
They have it because they have to.
Exactly. We have emergency exit window there. I believe we've got our propane carbon monoxide alarm down here, low to the ground.
Okay.
Smoke alarm right here, and just regular 9-volt battery.
Okay.
Nothing crazy. Get that back in there. Fire extinguisher by the main entry exit door, of course.
Good.
And then 2 entry exit doors. Just
Yep.
I always like to put that stuff out there. Okay, 26 channels found.
Hey.
Let's see, but I'm telling you.
It'd be all
I mean,
be all
it's
different
like-
by the time we get home.
It isn't the best. It's not. Billy the Exterminator. Oh, that's a good one.
yeah.
I used to watch the shit out of that when I was a kid. That got something else, man.
Weak signal.
Yeah, you go up there. And what's nice though, so with these newer style of antennas, I know on the older ones you'd have to come like here and crank them up, crank them down.
And you got to remember to bring it down.
Right, that'd be the mistake.
Yeah.
You have just a stationary, it's a dome, it doesn't have to, you don't move it, adjust it.
It just works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. That's so 2000. Like, you know, that's like lizard lick towing right there.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've seen that guy's
I was
house.
gonna say, that's a North Carolina boy right there. Ronnie Shirley.
My girlfriend used to live out, and she lived just down the road from his house. Is ridiculous.
I say they do well for themselves.
Yeah, they do very well.
I know they've got money.
Yeah, they do very well.
I'll tell you, a few years ago, I remember it was kind of a thing. Didn't his son get like shot or something down?
Yeah, something happened.
There was some tragedy I remember related around that family.
But they're still living pretty well.
Oh yeah, for sure. Got a closet bar on that side, which is always nice.
I've seen people build doors for this overhead too.
Oh, that's cool. Like from the top?
Yep.
Oh, really? All you gotta do is add a couple hinges, I guess,
Yep.
huh? That's pretty cool. And you
have
also have a second one in your own bedroom, which is nice.
Yep.
And this is cool too. They put these shelves so low, you almost couldn't sit up without. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Nothing like custom first thing.
Eventually, we'll replace this with a regular queen.
Oh yeah, for sure. And so one thing I always tell people too is, so these are obviously weight rated. People will replace the mattress and then they'll put like a 40-pound mattress topper on it, or a 30-pound comforter. And then they're like, well,
Then this thing won't stay up.
Yeah, I'm like, well, no kidding.
It's designed for this mattress.
Right.
Yeah.
And of course, these are very easy to replace, but
Yeah.
just something to be forewarned about. Really.
Yep. Good to know.
One thing, step outside that door there. I'm gonna show you something on your awning. Your awning also has a manual retract
Oh, does it?
capability to it. Do you notice? Let me pull that door
Oh,
out of the way.
that thing sticking out?
Little grommet. Oh,
Yep.
I'm an idiot. Don't listen to me. It's actually right here. I thought the
Oh,
awning
okay.
arm was behind that door. You see
Oh,
that
that's a
grommet
rain.
on
That's
the
a
top?
rain drain there.
Yeah, just your little drip guard. But you see your little rubber grommet on that?
top? Yep.
So under there is a 1/4-inch drive. I believe it's a 5/16. It's a tiny socket.
Okay.
But what it does is, let's say your awning's in, or actually, let's say it's stuck out.
Yep.
You're inside hitting the retract and it's not
Nothing's
moving.
coming.
You can put it on a socket. You can put it on a little drill. It's a little tedious in the sense of if you start here, you know, you kind of, and then you get down, shimmy your ladder in.
Yep.
But it still gives you a way to get that in and out.
Yep.
So you've got one for the slide, you've got one for the awning, you've got
That's
one
always
for the
good.
tongue jack.
Yep.
You're not stuck anywhere.
Right.
That is nice, because if you didn't, and people don't realize this, the gear and pinion system is the only one that you get a manual retract with.
Oh, really?
The Schwintek slides, you can still get them in, but it's a lot more work. You have to pull fascia boards, pull the motors out, and do all this. The older cable-driven style slides,
Yep.
you could get those in, but it's a lot more work. This is the only one that has that easy of a. So you picked well.
Yeah.
You picked very
Well,
well.
I did like the rack and pinion on this. That was one of the things I
Definitely.
did like. Yeah.
Grand Designs are good campers. I mean, I'd say, see, I got my Grand Design. I got like 3 of these hats, and I paid for these. I didn't. No one gave these to me, but they are. They're good campers.
We're just gonna ignore the whole frame flex thing that I've been seeing about on the fifth wheels. These people that their frames are failing.
Like, was that on Reflections and
Basically,
stuff like
the
that?
fifth
Big
wheels.
ones?
Yeah, the Solitudes and the toy haulers are all having frame issues. Basically,
That
what
ain't
they're
a good
saying
thing to have an issue with.
is they're claiming Grand Design basically put too much camper onto the frame that.
Well, and
that-
what's
that they built.
interesting is I'd be willing to bet that frame's probably made by Lippert.
It is.
And then Lippert, LCI makes everything. They own Solera.
Yep.
They own.
Lippert's basically saying, well, we built the frame that Grand Design
Told us
to build.
Not our fault.
We agreed on the specs. What they put on that frame is not our problem. Is
Well, in a
basically
way,
what
it's
Lippert's
not.
saying.
It's
Yeah.
really not Lippert's
So if Grand
fault,
Design's
but-
putting too much weight on,
I'm gonna tell you, we're getting these 2024s in. We had one when I got here this morning at 7 o'clock or whatever. There was a triple axle Momentum, so a Grand Design.
yep.
Gross vehicle, weight rating, empty, 20,000 pounds. Completely.
Yeah, and these front kitchens, those got to be put in with
Heavy ass
with a residential fridge and
Residential
sitting
fridge.
right in the front.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, that's got to be
telling
heavy.
you. Well, and if you notice, it's the residential fridge, the residential oven, everything on one slide.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a ton of weight.
Yeah.
Yep.
A few thousand pounds just
All,
right there.
all on the tongue.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Well, how are y'all feeling? Are we
Good.
feeling-
Yeah.
I know
Yep.
it's a lot of info at once, but none of it's really hard.
No.
It's really not. You
No,
do
I've
have
been
a
around campers before,
quick
so.
connect down here for a
Oh,
gas,
for the propane?
outside gas.
Not gonna.
So as we're sitting right now, you can
Okay.
see all the weights on the truck.
Yep.
These bars, if I go to move these, they're not really moving right now. That's
Right.
what we're gonna do is raise this up while it's still attached, and that's gonna loosen these bars up.
Okay.
So this is gonna be simulating as soon as you all get back home or wherever you're taking this today. You'll pull up, leave these two connected, and extend the tongue jack, and watch what happens as I extend up. It's gonna make this easy. So if it feels like it's too hard,
Raise it.
just keep going up, because it's
Yep.
not supposed to be something that you're fighting. And I'll just go up for a little bit and try it, and if I don't like it, I'll take it a little more. See, we're starting
there.
to get some
Yep.
play. That's pretty loose. I'll give this a shot.
Yep.
So either side, it's the exact same. We've got this little,
Pin. Okay.
pull that pin out, which pulls this pin out.
Okay.
If you're like me, I have to.
Yes.
I know little pieces get lost very
Yes.
easily. Get that in there, set it up there. And then this guy rotates. Now we do have a tool that we can use for this. I doubt we'll need it because they're so loose. But since we have it, we're gonna use
If you
it.
need a little leverage.
This
yeah.
is our tool here.
Okay.
Fits right on. You can see you don't really want to put your fingers down in
No.
here. Keep them up out of the way. Come off of there. Oh, let's see. It's because what do I still have tight? There we
There
are.
it goes.
So you can see that that's off of there, but we're still retained in up
You
here.
got another pin to pull.
Just a little pin.
Yep.
Pin comes out.
Yep.
Bar comes out. Same thing on the other side. And then of course I would retract this back down.
After I pull the two bars.
Exactly.
Yep.
So then I can disconnect truck and trailer.
Now I should take the bars out before I back it, or?
Yes. So with these, take the bars out before backing. Very
Yeah.
good question. And like I was saying, your side saddles, these don't have to move. These are mounted in a specific place, 28 to 32 inches from here.
Okay.
This is set to a height, so you don't have to play with it. If you want, you can always pull the pin here,
Yep.
you know, restore your receiver so it doesn't get, you know, people aren't very honest these days.
Yep.
Going back in, so let's
Yeah,
say,
I'll probably have a pin lock anyway.
it's never a bad
Yeah.
idea. You
I have
know.
one at home. I just didn't put it on today. Yeah.
Whenever you all are going to be hauling your trailer, you'll back the truck up underneath it, lower the trailer onto the truck and connect them, and then extend them back up.
Okay.
And that'd be where we're at now. You see how we have that little divot right
Notch,
there?
yep.
Notch goes up, because
Okay.
that's what the pin goes through.
Oh, I see.
And I'll
Yep.
show you a little trick I use here when I do these. Gotta fit it. Once I get that pin through, I always pull it, just to make sure that it is engaged.
Yep. Good idea.
I know why that's being hard, because I already tightened the sway control. Duh. Get a little fancy wrench here. I like these because in the book for the sway control, it says you use the supplied wrench to tighten them. When it gets tight, you've achieved 45 foot-pounds, which is the standard. If you want more, you tighten them more. But everyone I've ever talked to has been happy with 45.
Okay.
So now I say I can pull this out and wiggle it a little bit, have a little bit of play.
Oh, I see. Yep.
So let's say the bar was still down here. All you would do is bring it up with the tongue jack. You don't have to sit here and try to lift
Right.
it up into your thing. You just line it up in between your two pieces there. The bar, or you can just use your hands, but get my bar on there. Got my little retaining clip. And then if you look, you see how that kind of lines up?
Yep.
How there's that
Oh,
one,
I see.
and then those two holes line up
You
with
gotta
it.
line them up. Yep.
Pin goes through, secures it all together. And we've got that little clip that goes back in.
Yep.
And so we're all loose, but as I go back down,
It's gonna tighten.
it's going to tighten it back up.
So it's putting downward pressure on the bar, or?
So what it does is it takes the weight of the trailer and takes it to the front of the vehicle and then evenly distributes it back.
Right.
There's always people walking around somewhere
Yeah.
here.
FedEx.
It makes sense. A little bit of play, but it ain't nothing like what it
Yeah.
was,
And
which
that
is fine.
nut's still.
And then so what I'm gonna do, and like I say, what's nice with this, so you got these big red knobs on either side. and you'll watch. As
So the tighter it is, the more sway control you have.
And you'll know when you get to that 45 foot-pounds because that wrench stops turning.
It just stops completely.
And so that's 45 foot-pounds. Now you can go more than that. They say that in adverse conditions, you might want to turn your sway control off, you know, snow, rain, which I know we were talking about. Snow,
Yeah.
we probably ain't gonna have to deal with any of that.
No.
But I've got them both at 45 foot-pounds right now, which
I
is
don't
what the
think I'll be
manual
towing this
says.
thing in the snow anyway.
I'm
even if it
telling
does.
you, that'd be a ballsy play right there.
Yeah. You gotta be pretty damn confident.
I'm telling you,
in your
yeah, that's
abilities.
just, and confident in other people as well. That's
Yeah.
the scary part.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're set up right now, and if you look down here, safety chains and 7-way's pretty standard.
Yep.
Got them hooked in here. I've got your breakaway cable, which just connects right here.
Okay.
If this gets pulled out, it simulates truck and trailer have disconnected, and it locks up the brakes on the
Right.
trailer.
Yep.
It's down here with its own little independent carabiner clip.
Okay.
So you just want to make sure you have that hooked up. And I just threw some extensions on here just to be safe.
It's good.
You know, it looked fine, but I always like to have more room than compared to tight. So you're all good as far as turns or anything like that go.
Yep.
I'll put this tool and the other tool. This is also a good beating stick if someone's getting tailgating. You know?
right.
And I always leave the manuals for the hitches in here too, if you want to read it or whatever.
Oh, eventually too. Any problems with switching over to lithium from lead acid?
That would be a very smart thing
Okay.
to do. Yeah, obviously lithium batteries are super nice, but no, there's
They're
no
coming down in
problem.
price too.
Are
They
they
used to
really?
be $1,000 a battery. Now you can get. I mean, some people claim the quality isn't as good, but you can get them as low as $250 a battery. So
That's definitely a quarter of the price. Can't beat that.
yeah. But you can get really good ones for less than 500. So.
Right, and see that's still a compromise to that $1,000. I mean,
Yep.
And you know, part of it maybe you get what you pay for, but part of it is they're always making things for this much and then selling it for this. Right? You know how that works.
Yep.
Yeah. I like the American flag letters.
Yeah, that is.
That's a nice touch.
It came with the truck.
Did it really?
Yeah, and in fact, when I go to my girlfriend's house now, when I pull into her neighborhood, that first house right as you pull up before you turn left to go down to her house, he's got white F-150 with that lettering, but I think it's like a 22 or a
it's
23.
slightly different.
It's a slightly different,
It's
a
funny
newer
how you
model.
can pick out those anomalies like
Yeah,
that.
but when I saw the truck and the American flag lettering, I'm like, huh, it's the first one I've seen.
I've seen that before.
Yeah, because I think that's aftermarket. I don't think
Yeah.
that's.
I think so.
I don't think that's offered
I will
as
tell
a.
you, people, EcoBoost have the best towing capacity out of them.
That's why I bought it.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They
My
don't
son
realize
has
how much torque it's got.
My son has a 20,
Okay.
but he's got the V8.
Oh, so what is that, the 5.0 in
naturally,
there?
Yeah, the naturally aspirated 5.0.
That's what my dad, he has a 5.0 in his. It's not that new. And those get up and go a little better, but as far as towing capacity, you
Well,
can't-
it's
Yeah.
actually, when I drive his truck after driving mine for a while, his feels sluggish to me.
Does it really?
Yeah.
Well, you know, with that twin turbo in
Yeah.
here, that thing, you can get it
Yeah.
to kick.
It's. I mean, it rumbles more. It's got a deeper,
Sure.
Yeah.
The exhaust
more
system's
growly.
deeper.
Yeah. Than
And he
this
likes
one.
that. He likes the sound of
He
it.
likes that
I
sound.
like, if I'm in a parking garage, I'll just tap it and just sound like a spaceship real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the turbo, you hear
You've
that.
got the towing
You hear
capacity.
that whistle. Yeah.
All right, I'm
And
going
this-
to get your power cord up. You got to have the power cord,
Yep.
of course. And I always just do a walk